there's one type of functions in Matlab which differs a bit from that usual way of defining using definition line, and those are called anonymous functions. So these are kind of small formulas that can be defined as functions within your script, actually anywhere within it, so it doesn't have to be at the end, and without using the command function at all. And let's have a look. The difference is that those work for really small calculations. It's not possible to write a big something that would in a function file would take a few or a number of lines. It's not possible to have it as an anonymous function, or at least it wouldn't be as neat as we would like to. But sometimes these are handy. So let me show you a couple of examples. So anonymous function is defined within a script in this way. So it's a bit different. The name of the function actually appears on the left-hand side of assignment operator. Then we include this at sign, which kind of gives a handle to the arguments. And then in round parentheses, we actually list input arguments. So it can be one argument, for instance, then it would be, if it's just x like this. If you have more, then you separate them with commas like that. And then there comes the expression which actually kind of defines that formula which generates that calculation. So let's see what that means in practice. So if I want to redo in a different way the example I did before, so the one where I had my money and I had the function written as a separate file or beneath my script file as a function, I can actually define it within my script file like this. So now notice that the name of the function is in here, and then in here with the at, so the handle operator, I declare that I have 3 input arguments, m, n, and r. And then here, without any other additional things, I have my formula. So you see, it looks pretty handy when really this formula is very straightforward. It's one-liner, let's say. We couldn't do it so easily or so neatly if, for instance, our function would require a big loop to calculate something. But anyway, this is the way how it would be defined, and then the way to call it is exactly the same as if it was defined somewhere outside. So you have to define your values for the input arguments, you have to define outputs. So it's actually for functions which have just one output, and then you just mention the name and give the inputs, or then directly, once again, without predefining input arguments, their values, you just give the values directly. So in here, if we go to the code, I'll generate yet one more function here now as anonymous. I'll call it mymoney3, and I declare that I'll have 3 input arguments. I can call them again m, n, and r. That's okay. And then I say that it's m times 1 plus r power n. Notice that there is nothing between in here, so there is no more maybe equality sign or saying here that balance equals. No, that would be bringing an error. All you have to do is with the handle operator say what are the inputs, and then in here comes the formula doing it. So then after that I can calculate the balance. So mymoney3, because that's the name of my anonymous function, and the inputs I can use any, and maybe 5 years, and with the rate, let's be generous, 10%. So when we run this, okay, there is a problem. Assignment to mymoney3 not supported. Variable has the same name as local function. Oh yeah, I had in this example I had this mymoney3 just to show you that you can have a couple of functions within the same file. So now Matlab got confused which one it would have to use. Is it this one which was defined here, or is it the one I defined as anonymous? So you see it actually tells us variable has the same name as a local function. So this points for us that there must be somewhere the same name appearing twice. So I actually have to call it mymoney4 and then use it here as mymoney4 because that's the one I intend to take. And the result is there. So as I said, not very commonly used, but still they are quite handy if it's really a small formula type function. Having one output, it's perfectly fine to do it just as an anonymous function without messing your code with some additional functions or generating an extra big file outside.